Mercedes' secret weapon James Allison returns. So we're gonna be going through that and 5 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Mercedes news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel hitting that red button down below. The first story is James Allison returns and a new theory emerges on why Mercedes have brought him back. Stefan Johansson suspects Mercedes have brought back James Allison as technical director to help them better understand the overall package of the W14. Mercedes recently announced a shakeup of their technical structure, reappointing James Allison as technical director in a straight swap with Mike Elliott. Allison had been technical director between 2017 and 21, with Elliott taking over the role as Allison moved to the position of chief technical officer. However, with the first 2 Mercedes cars of the revolutionary ground effect era proving less competitive than the team might have expected, Mercedes explained that Elliott instigated an internal review that led to the pair swapping roles. The W14 has seen Mercedes stick with the zero-pod concept that raised eyebrows when the 2022 W13 was first unveiled, with team boss Toto Wolff holding his hands up after this year's season opener in Bahrain to admit the concept had taken the Brackley-based squad in the wrong direction. With Allison back at the coalface of the day-to-day running of the team's technical department, the question mark about whether the British engineer can help guide the team on an upward trajectory is one that can only be answered with the passage of time. Having a 1-2 finish in Brazil at the end of last year may also have contributed to them choosing to follow the same concept for 2023 also, rather than abandoning and instead doing a more conventional design concept. I think that's probably one of the reasons why Allison's coming back again, because he obviously has a massive amount of experience and may have a better feel for what the whole package should be like, especially now when they are 2 years into the new rules package and there is enough information across the pit lane to see what works and what doesn't. I suspect there may also have been a few hurt egos along the way. It's very hard for any designer to let go of an idea that they feel is brilliant, which I am sure their current concept is in theory, but it just does not work consistently in practical terms. We've seen this from almost all of the most brilliant designers throughout the history of the sport at some point or another. While Red Bull's Adrian Newey is the outright leader in terms of championship-winning designs, James Allison has played a crucial role in 2 of the sport's most dominant F1 cars, the Ferrari F2004 and the Mercedes W11. Having been part of 2 separate eras of F1 domination, Johansson believes Allison's re-involvement with the W14 will have an effect once he finds his feet. In general terms, there are 3 guys in F1 that have had consistent success over the years. Allison is clearly one of them, together with Adrian Newey and Ross Brawn, he said, pointing to the example of when Newey seemed to lose interest in F1 at the start of the hybrid era when the chief technical officer went off and designed sailboats and hypercars, before returning to oversee the F1 designs directly from 2019 with almost immediate effect. Johansson believes Allison could have a similar impact. A few years ago, Adrian went off and did boats and stuff as well. I think Red Bull went through a little bit of a weak patch as well. So I think all those guys are just a bit special in that it's not just about theory all the time, but they also have a great feel for will work or not, and I think that's what's been missing, he said. But regardless of that, Johansson reckons there's no stopping Red Bull anytime soon, such as their level of performance at the head of Formula One. I actually said 3 years ago that we were witnessing the start of a 10-year domination of Red Bull, Verstappen, and Honda ... or whatever shape the engine program will take, he said. They're on a roll, they have the momentum and they have the complete package. They have all the key ingredients in the right places, and as long as they can keep the same key group of people together, I think they will be very hard to beat. Max is getting better each year and I don't think he's close to his peak yet. The second story is Mercedes will change their car after Hamilton complaints. Toto Wolff has committed Mercedes to changing the position of their Formula One cockpit on the 2024 car after unease from Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton complained over the Australian Grand Prix weekend that he was unhappy with the cockpit position in the W14, with Mercedes sitting their driver considerably ahead of those in the class-leading Red Bull RB19. The team are unable to change this during the 2023 season, with 2024's W15 the first chance to rectify the problem, and Wolff has stated that they will move the seating position back after Hamilton reported problems. When you're driving, you feel like you're sitting on the front wheels, which is one of the worst feelings when you're driving a car, Hamilton explained to media in Melbourne. If you were driving your car back home and you pulled the wheels beneath your legs, you would not be happy when you're approaching the roundabout. What that does is it changes the attitude of the car and how you perceive its movement, and it makes it harder to predict compared to when you're sitting back, more in the center, and it's just something I've really struggled with. In response to the 7-time world champion, Wolff revealed in Azerbaijan that the shift would be happening for 2024, although he didn't think it was a real issue. "We don't think it's a real issue from the engineering side, but just to take it out of the equation, we're going to change the position to optimize the car and make sure that the driver is sitting in a good place," he told media, including Racing News 365.com. "George is pretty relaxed about the seating position, but for Lewis, it is important, so we are going to find a compromise." The third story is Mercedes chief Toto Wolff admits Ferrari driver is on his team's radar. Mercedes chief Toto Wolff has admitted Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc is on his radar as uncertainty over Lewis Hamilton's future with the team continues. Last week, reports in Italy claimed it was an open secret that Leclerc had begun talks with Mercedes, but the Ferrari driver insisted on Thursday that there had not yet been any discussions with the rival team. Leclerc has established himself as one of the sport's elite drivers, particularly over one lap in qualifying, but Ferrari have repeatedly failed to provide the 25-year-old with a car capable of winning a championship. 7-time world champion Hamilton's Mercedes contract expires at the end of the current season, but despite repeated insistence from team and driver that both sides are keen on an extension, an agreement has not been forthcoming. Asked whether he had held talks with Leclerc, Wolff said, "The only time I talked with him is when we discussed where the gate is in Melbourne to board the plane. Charles is a super guy and for the long-term future someone you have to have on your radar, but not for the short and medium term." After appearing to leave the door open to future talks with Mercedes in his comments on Thursday, Leclerc said he was fully committed to Ferrari, and Wolff pointed to those comments. He added, "Nobody doubts Charles' ability, and he is a good guy. He is 100% committed to Ferrari, and we are 100% committed to putting pen to paper with Lewis." Speculation around Leclerc's future came on a weekend where he offered a reminder of his supreme talent, taking pole in both qualifying sessions as Formula One debuted its new sprint format at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Leclerc's pole for Sunday's race was the 19th of his F1 career, and the 10th he has taken since the start of last season, one more than reigning world champion Max Verstappen has managed in that time. He has only converted 4 of those previous pole positions into victory, but Sky Sports F1 pundit Karan Chandhok believes the 25-year-old now heads the field when it comes to one-lap performance. "I genuinely think over one lap he is now the fastest driver we have in Formula One," Chandhok said in commentary. "His ability to extract that extra grip out of fresh tires for one lap is immense. I do think he is the best qualifier we have on the grid right now." Hamilton admitted afterwards that he was counting down the days until Mercedes' big upgrade arrives in Imola, the race after this weekend's Miami GP. But Wolff says the Imola package, which includes a new front suspension, aero and floor, will not immediately put Hamilton and Russell into race-winning contention. The fourth story is Wolff reveals details of first Mercedes upgrade. Toto Wolff has revealed the extent of the initial Mercedes upgrade that will appear on the W14S from the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix later this month. After suggesting at the start of the season that the current concept of the car may have to be scrapped, Mercedes has since discovered a development direction it is confident will drag it closer toward Red Bull over time. The update has been in the pipeline for weeks, with the first piece of the puzzle scheduled to be unveiled ahead of the race at Imola. "Yeah, the target is Imola," confirmed Wolff when asked by Speedgate whether that was still the plan. Then highlighting what will be on the car in Imola, he added, "So we're bringing a new front suspension, and then the aero upgrade that comes with it, and floor. Then we can catch up, as we did last year." The fifth story, Lewis Hamilton declares F1 hunger still there, evidenced by Baku fightback. Lewis Hamilton has said his Azerbaijan GP fightback shows he still has plenty of hunger for racing in F1, having been running in 5th ahead of teammate George Russell when he pitted on lap 9. Moments later, when Nick de Vries clipped the wall at turn 5 before parking his AlphaTauri at turn 6, the safety car was deployed, handing less time-consuming stops to those who had yet to pit. Once it all shook out, Hamilton found himself back down in 10th place, but set about re-establishing himself once the race resumed, including a decisive slice past Russell into turn 1. Hamilton would go on to finish 6th, capitalizing on a mid-race error from Lance Stroll when the Aston Martin driver outbraked himself into the corner leading onto the massive pit straight. Hamilton finished within DRS range of Ferrari's Carlos Sainz, just missing out on 5th. Lewis Hamilton, the race showed my hunger is still there. Speaking about his dramatic race in Azerbaijan, Hamilton said that he showed his hunger and passion for racing remains unabated at a time when the seven-time world champion's immediate future is uncertain. His contract with Mercedes coming to an end at the conclusion of 2023. Well, naturally, because so much work goes into the weekend, and then was a difficult day where I went backward. Then I was hoping for a better day and I lost so many places. That's definitely a kick in the teeth, he said, as quoted by motorsport.com. But then I was like, well, it is what it is. I think showed that the hunger is there. And once I get that confidence in that car, the pace will come out. Asked about his mindset as the race resumed, having lost 5 positions as a result of the safety car intervention, Hamilton said he kept his disappointment pushed aside. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell look to turn this season around as soon as possible. So make sure to like this video, and if you do want more Mercedes F1 content like this, do not forget to subscribe to the channel hitting that red button down below.